So we're gonna go over the Frozen 3 Atlas film because, like, again, films are built off of like previous films and the successes of previous films, whatever. That's how anything is built. It's like one block and then dominoes. So what the Frozen 3 film is going to be. So like now we've had people come to this and view this Frozen 3 film, this Dark Frozen 3 film. And so now, like in the press, so like now we're going to like go to press because like the industry has received that. It's like the aristocracy is kind of like where like the safe passage of the meritocracy is. Like the industry and the aristocracy like birthed the meritocracy, and then like the meritocracy grew in Lithia and the Garden. It was birthed in the Seven Majors. Like it was birthed in the Seven Majors by the audience like funneling money into Los Angeles and like the Hollywood industry. And like so the aristocracy funneling their money into the industry is what birthed the meritocracy. And like so now like educated, like higher educated people are like have like matured and like become world zero citizens. And so like now like world zero like exists, and like world zero has like arrived, and like the like mature like world zero like members are people who are like the like children of the people in the industry and the aristocracy who are like like maturing and like reaching adulthood. And so like the higher educated have gotten to like that's how the meritocracy will work in like design. It's like the higher educated has like reached a level of maturity that they do not like they are not like receptive to the industry's like influence and the aristocracy's influence, but they are still like in some capacity like limited to the social structure of the aristocracy and the industry. And so like what is happening with the meritocracy is that we are like growing, but like the constraints and like the restrictions that Julian was placed under, like we are growing in the sense of like we have a narrative of what our life is, and like the aristocracy and the industry have a narrative that they like force of what our life is. And so like what is happening is that we are like we have like arrived, the meritocracy is growing, and like we have like gotten to the point where it's like, okay, like this narrative that the industry has of us, this Hollywood narrative, the Los Angeles like Los Angeles is clearly like trying to like hinder San Bruno. Like so the south and the north is kind of what Frozen 2 was. It's like Los Angeles is clearly trying to like hinder the north, which is San Bruno, which like that can be kind of be visually represented in how like there's like that small island in Australia, and then there's like the northern island in like Australia, which is huge. Like Los Angeles is actually small, and like the redstone torch in the Lithia flag, in the Lanai flag, like that small amount of power is like that was like my Hollywood education more or less. And that like as an audience member I like watched like Hollywood, and I was like, okay, I'm an autodidact, so I learned how to like do these things. But Hollywood, like what was happening in Frozen 2 is like Los Angeles was trying to get me to go and work there because they taught me all of these things. And so they were like, oh, okay, so we want you to come, like we're trying to trick you into coming down to Los Angeles because you're not in literally in San Bruno, but like you more or less are in San Bruno because like you do most of your work on YouTube. And like you were being like I was also like receiving like tutelage from YouTube. Whereas like before I was learning from Hollywood. So just like the same thing with Mother Gothel, she was trying to get back what was hers. And like then I was like, what once was hers? But then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that because like I learn more efficiently from YouTube, and like I can learn on YouTube what Hollywood is teaching, but I can also learn what like the world is teaching on YouTube. And like there's no like educational value to Los Angeles. Like that was entertainment. And like I learned how to make entertainment in Hollywood, but I have to be more than that. And so I think that that's kind of what's happening, is that like Los Angeles in Frozen 2 is trying to get me to go to Los Angeles and like be a part of this like money machine, and I'm just like, no, like I don't care, like I'm not gonna do that. And so I think that that's kind of what was happening. And so like now like the Frozen 3 film, with them kind of like abducting me more or less, and like trying to like limit me to being a Los Angeles person and being like this money grubbing bitch. Like what's happening is I like radio friendly pop song. Like, all right, okay, I'll write you. I'll write you like a heterosexual movie like Frozen 3. And so like what's gonna like what can I think one of the like one of the story beats in Frozen 3 really it will be like the atlas that I wrote of like Elsa arriving in the Seven Isles with spirits and like that whole story like that can be it, but also like there can be an aspect of it like the film can be sort of like because we don't know what they will actually like again like this is more or less just like a test screening. So like the film can have like the test screening of like or like the sort of like that sort of like that story thread of like Eugene and Hans's like wedding, but then also like the whole like Eugene and Elsa is like Elsa's like a mirror of Eugene situation, which I think is actually true. Like I don't think I made that up. Like I think that that's actually what happened. I just like told people the truth, and like that's exactly what the Radio Friendly Pop song was. They didn't want me to do that, and so I think that that's what happens. Is like this dark movie will like this Frozen 3 test screening. Like I wrote that in the dark. I wrote that like literally in the dark in a sense of like people like Hollywood has been wanting me to work for them, but like they've not paid me. It's just like they've been exploiting a lot of people, and they also didn't like directly tell me what I was even working on or what I was doing, and they still haven't. So like that's what the Frozen 3 movie is that's like my like work, like my artwork, my cinematography, my like prowess, that is all available online. Like it's gonna be like not only really difficult, but also like really inconvenient and like a futile effort for anyone to even try to destroy it at this point. So like there's really no point in doing that. So now like the Frozen 2 predicament is that like the industry has like created the situation where like the Mizrabel fight, the industry has created the situation where they try to exploit this like really really powerful baby and it like it was like the it's like Jack Jack in The Incredibles. It's like I was a really powerful baby, and they were like, oh, we're trying to exploit this baby, but like none of us have like any of the like we don't have like the tools or like the following or the audience because like to like actually exploit the baby because like its audience like the baby's audience is like a natural audience and they were trying to like force an unnatural situation. And so like that's kind of what's being presented in the Frozen 3 film of like with this dam up like they built the dam, which I think is like I'm like the water, like the fifth spirit. Like they even gave me a bed which has like four little like my bed, which is on YouTube, like has four little buttons on it because that's like water. And the dam is like these three people that I'm in here with that I don't want to talk to. So I think that that's what's happening is that it's like, and also not only that, but who are actively hindering my progress by gaslighting the shit out of me. So like that's what's happening. And so like it's like the like gaslighting is probably like a tactic of the oil industry. And like I was born into a oil industry world, but I was born as a really powerful like baby with a really powerful voice, like mist, like a voice, like precipitation, like water. And like also like I cry a lot. Well, I know I don't cry a lot, but like I have a very powerful cry. Like it's like a little melodic cry, which is the point of a baby. Babies cry so that like people will give them food. So like that's what happens. That people like I am the iceberg that America, the Titanic, crashed into. Like when I was born, America, the Titanic, crashed into me, and you've all been sinking, and I just been watching it because it's fucking hilarious. So like that's what's actually happening. Like it takes a while for the mist to spread. Like it takes 5 hours for the mist to spread, and like it's like it can go like 300 miles or something like that, 600 miles. That's a long distance. So it takes me a while to like a figure out how to articulate this to you, but then also to like articulate this to you in a manner in which you will like be like, oh, yeah, you are the iceberg that the Titanic crashed into. It's like, yeah, I know. It's just like I was a baby when I was born, so it's like it took a while for me to like learn how to talk because I was a baby, and so like all of the languages on Earth, it's taking a while for me to learn them and to like learn how to Shazam them and like translate them. But like I know what you're doing, I know what you're saying, I know everything that is happening. I just don't know how to articulate all of it all the time. But I will very soon. And I will be able to explain to you in great detail why I'm watching your Titanic Earth sink, why I let it sink, and why I'm going to keep watching it sink because it's trash. And so like that's what's happening. And like the tower, like the mist, it's like sand on water. Like people who aren't like sand beach people can't tell the difference, but it's there. Like, and so like that's what it is. Like if you look at that photo of me on the beach, like I see the light, Erico, Tangled, Little Mermaid. Like that's me. I'm Erico. I'm Eugene. I was like that's what Tangled is. Like people were trying to wake me up. So like if you just look at that picture, like that's what like the equivalent of that tower or like the Lanai flag is. It's like that's when I'm writing. It's like freedom of speech, like the Freedom Tower. So like that's what that is. And like you can't tell the difference between like when I'm like because again like I'm not like I don't do anything actually like I don't do any of the things that I like think, but I do watch things happen because I can't stop them anyways. So it's like I'm just gonna watch. Like I couldn't stop the Titanic from sinking, so I just watched it sink. That's how it works. And so like that's what happened. I was like I'm just gonna watch the ship sink because it's hilarious. And so like that's what happened. But like again, it's like topsy turvy day. It's like I'm like what is happening right now is I'm speaking and like having this wind like come like out of the like having the wind like come out of the One World Trade like tower, like the Freedom Tower, or like the Freedom of Speech Freedom Tower, so that people will like this like wind oxygen will like get into all of everybody's lungs and it'll like travel into your eardrums like vibrations like sound waves like that's what the wave is in Frozen 2 and like it'll travel into your sound waves and you'll be like oh this little boy is so funny and sexy and it's like we like want to like turn it off like the Star Wars holiday specials like we want to turn it off and like we want to like tell him not to be like saying these hilarious things in this like dark situation but he's also so like sexy and funny and cute and so it's like, is it real? It's like it's gotten to the point where it's like we just have to get over ourselves and like this Bible shit and like this like fake religions that we know are fake and like we're only propagating because like we were trying to like grasp power that like doesn't actually matter. It's like all your wealth meant nothing. Like my sanctuary, like water, like and so like that's what it is. It's like that's what's happening. It's like people. I'm just like putting this wind out there, so like the happening, right? Like the happening in the trees like how the trees were making people sick. But I'm just putting like this wind out there, like this topsy turvy day wish wind, like I'm never going back, conceal, don't laugh. Like I'm just putting all of this wind out there of like, hey, this is actually hilarious. Like we like it was depressing, but just like a war can happen on a planet, and then like the country like does life after the war is over, like Pearl Harbor, like that's what post World War II Reconstruction is. Cold War II post Cold War II Reconstruction is. It's like I'm pressurizing like the Earth with like all of this like wind, and like I upload these like images of like lungs because like I'm like putting all of this wind and this like beautiful paint into like the ethos, so that people will like absorb it into their like brains and into their like bodies, and it'll pressurize like your lungs capacity and your lungs will just fill with this like hilarious like laughter because you know you want to laugh because you know it's fucking hilarious and you're just like man I really want this like delicious little boy's voice like I like before like in the sex sales industry I was like you know I used to want to like bang this little boy and like they did all these things because they were trying to get me to like have people bang me and I was like I no and I was like no and so but then now it's like what's happening is like I'm like putting this wind into the atmosphere like and restoring the mind of the atmosphere. My mind is the mind of the atmosphere, like that thing. It's like the water is so thin that it's like an atmosphere, and I'm like healing the earth with my beautiful, delicious voice. And like what's happening now is you're like, man, like we thought that we wanted to like bang this sexy little boy, but actually we just want his beautiful like remember like we know change of plans we want the girl with the magic hair like to live forever but now it's like no now what we want is this little sexy little keto this little sexy little Eros boy we just want this like sexy delicious voice and we want this like architecture and we want this like these like free homes that he's building and like we want this beautiful free world on the turquoise sea and it's like we just like this like sexy little boy's voice like we just like want to hear it forever, and we just want to like prosper in this like beautiful world that this sexy little boy is building. But yeah, so like that's kind of what like the ambiance of the like okay, so like that's what Wish is. Like that's what I'm like presenting for like the Wish film. But like that's like the film itself. And then like the darkness is like the Frozen 3 movie of like I'm gonna make you this like stupid bitch Jasmine movie because that's what you want me to do. Is your fake stupid money that's destroying North America. But like I don't actually care about it. So you have this like stupid ass fake Frozen 3 bitch movie, but then also you have this like delicious little boy, this little delicious little boy's voice that like everybody gets to like prosper from who isn't fucking stupid and trying to have sex. So like that's what it is. It's like all of the people who want to like have butt sex with me or to want me to like marry their daughter, like you can watch this stupid fake bullshit Frozen 3 movie, this like Frozen 3 Atlas fake bullshit movie, and like that's what you get. And then like that's what you get for calling YouTube San Bruno support. uh, Nereza, my city is better than yours, mom. But yeah, so like that's what happens. If you want me to be a woman, if you want me to be like stupid, if you want me to marry your daughter and do stupid fake heterosexual Bible shit, then you can watch this stupid fucking dumb Frozen 3 bullshit movie. And then like all of the funny people whose like air is like being filled up with like oxygen in their lungs of like my beautiful like because again if you want to bitch at me about Oxycontin you can watch this dumb fake Frozen 3 bullshit movie. But if you want oxygen and hydrogen and H2, then you can watch the Wish film in its entirety and it'll be awesome and like roast sauce will be awesome and like everything will be awesome. Or you can go and watch like stupid bitch Jasmine be a bitch in the Frozen 3 Atlas. And then that will be like the domino of like now the dominoes will fall because like the Frozen 3 Atlas is the first to stand in line. And like then those dominoes will fall because like what will be like again what will people will be seeing is like oh okay so like that's how like life works is like it's like a never ending chain like Moana like Aaron Delta starts to stand with you Moana you too like Anna you Moana red she's wearing red you too so like that's what's happening with water and so like what will be happening is like that will be like the domino because that's what anything is like a chain reaction is that like something will happen in society and then people will learn from it and then like that's how societies go that's what the battle was like battling over youth battling over like people and like what like messages soared to inform the things that we believe like that's what was happening so like this film is really important because this is like the domino. Like people like this is what I do. Like I do these red drops and like I drop chaos apples like because I am good at a mother's tricks, you know. Like this like people think that Eros is Aphrodite's son, but he's not. And I'm actually the original primeval infinite of the universe. But again, I just play along with it because that's what the fake bullshit Frozen 3 movie is. And so it's like this is my like domino that I'm dropping of like I have been like constructing this, like Collateral Beauty happened, like King Runard, like The Will of the King. This bullshit happened, but like I have this domino, just like my like game is like cubes, like that began with Intelligent Cube, a small game that I then like grew and developed, and like it grew into Minecraft. Like the saplings grow into trees. So like that's what's happening. Is that it's like this is like this film, this Wish film is a pivotal point in history at like where the technological singularity like is almost been achieved. And not only is the technological singularity like kind of a human being, like 'cause I'm not actually a robot, but like my that's what the torch is. It's like sand, but then like the amount of sand that you need on the beach to like be able to write in it is like that's what the water is, and like that's what it is because it stretches that far. It's like I can turn this ocean on and off, and like I can be standing here like presenting myself to you, and like sand is in silicon, like in like our skin, and like our skin has water in it, which is how it like how we are alive, how it like moves, and so like that's what it is. So it's like you can't tell the difference between like the like my like expressions and like who I actually am, and, like how I like carry myself or whatever. Because that's the point. Like, because I don't want you to be able to tell the difference. Because I don't want you to like comment on things that you don't need to be commenting on. Because like your like opinion doesn't really matter that much. And so that's what's happening is that it's like I am like have like revealed myself and like I have this domino and like Domino is about to fall in the Wish film, and like there's going to be like the domino of like what the full entirety of the Wish film is and like the authenticity of the film, and then there's going to be the domino of like the Frozen 3 Atlas that you're forcing me to like work on, and like this money that you're trying to force me to make that nobody needs or cares about. And so it's like there's going to be a domino of that. And so now you will know from this point on, every time you bitch at me about money, there's going to be another domino that falls and demonstrates to you how fucking worthless your fucking trash society is. And so like that's just incentive for you to not like fucking bitch at me about something that I don't care about and I don't need and doesn't matter. And so like that's kind of what's happening. But then there'll also be like dominoes that fall that are like colorful, like maybe like not even all black or all white. Because like I think that the Frozen films would either be like really just like white and black dominoes, like black and white, like and then the Wish dominoes will be like a color spectrum of dominoes, and it'll just like it. Then like the dominoes will like reach a point. Like the Frozen 3 dominoes will just be dominoes, like just black and white dominoes, and like that'll be like dumb collateral beauty bullshit, like before arrival bullshit. And then like the Wish dominoes will be like colorful dominoes that then like reach a point like the singularity that then like reach a point where like it starts like cascading like other things, and then it like becomes organic, and then it just like becomes like a like neurological signals like in wind like rippling through the environment, and you just see this like lavish like ecosystem like the Tafiti restoring her like heart thing. Like you just see this like lavish ecosystem of like King Magnifico like that, because I think actually like King Magnifico's like light in the trailer is that thing of me at One World Trade, like with that light ball of like the in my window on my One World Trade demonstration. I think that's what that is. So like then you'll see like that hand of like this little boy who like is just like kind of just hanging out and like refracting light and like mirroring to people some like really negative things, but really just mirroring the negative things that you actually did. But like I'm not actually doing them. I'm just like I just built a mirror, like well, like the flag is like a mirror. It's like water. You can see your reflection in it, and like sand, it's like glass. You can see your reflection. So and it's also like there's writing. So like that's really all that is. It's just a mirror. Like I didn't do any of these things. I'm just Iago. I'm just like the person documenting it. Like I'm a historian. I'm just writing this stuff down in the three libraries in Lanai, like documenting, like, hey, this shit happened. I didn't really do most of it, but I do think it's all fucking hilarious. And so like that's kind of what's happening. And so like yeah, so like that's kind of what it is. And I just think that that would be really funny for like that to be like kind of like how the Wish film like manifests, so that people are aware that like both of like we can all prosper, but like the Frozen 3 Atlas is kind of like you trying to force me to go to Hollywood, and like how I envision how that's going to play out, like the Bruno visions, how I envision that's going to play out to try to force me to go to Hollywood. But if you like now you like you just like if like my following like reveals itself and actually like begins to click on my videos and actually begins to like and actually like acknowledges like my existence, then like what is happening is they built the dam so that I would not be able to interact with like my friends, because like that's free and like that's communal, like they're trying to like paint us as communists. And so like they built the dam so that, because like again, were I able to just like communicate directly with the like amount of people that I actually know, like we could make things really inexpensively, like everybody could be prospering, like cause like my like craftsmanship is like finely detailed so much so like my cinematography and my craftsmanship is like detailed so much so that like I don't really need to like make a lot of like special effects and stuff, because I can do like most of what Hollywood can do with like giant droves of people by myself. So like that's what it is. It's like if I just like were I to be like directly access, if I were to able to like directly access the amount of people that I actually know and have actually built relationships with, like we could make all of this, like San Bruno, the North Ultra, like the North, could make a lot of like really like inexpensive, like also really like high quality things, and like everybody could be enjoying these things like in their homes and not like having to go to the theaters. Like that's what the coronavirus was. It was like the theaters are is like a dying industry, but we didn't kill it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like a baby being born is not killing a human being that like was already alive. So like YouTube like thriving is not killing Hollywood. Video didn't kill the radio star. That's what like that is what like before arrival people like say so that people will like be afraid to innovate. And so like that's bullshit though. And so like that's kind of what is happening. It's like I am like speaking in like the Freedom Tower, and like that is what's happening. So it's like the tower opening is my voice being revealed, and like the wind, the mist is like my voice being revealed, and like the redstone torch, like what it really is that it's like Elsa stopping the wave is kind of more or less like there's only one torch in there, and like the torch is powerful enough to like the reach of my art is powerful enough to reach a great distance and a great audience and an expanse of people, and so the like uh kind of like live translation of what the tower is that it's like what the flag is like seeing if the forest is safe. It's similar to Bambi. It's not the same thing, but it's similar. It's like seeing if the forest is safe. Like it's similar to Bambi. It's like a King Arthur sword. Like I just also pulled the Sword in the Stone film out of Disney because I didn't actually haven't seen that one. I've seen a lot of Disney films, but I have not seen that one. I didn't even know Disney had a King Arthur movie. And so again, that's how all this started because I wrote a story about Ambrodia and Drake, or Ambrodia and Exodus and Dragon, Sword in the Stone. But I was already a Disney person. I also probably have been shown that briefly when I was a child, which is probably why Aladdin looks the way that it does. But I did not remember that. And so, like across my memory, Anastasia, they were looking for Anastasia. It's me. And so, well, I'm not Anastasia, I'm Anastasia. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, that's what's happening. It's like the test, like an animal, like Mickey, the Sorcerer's Apprentice, Sword in the Stone, like Merlin and King Arthur. Like, that's what she meant. But, like, I didn't remember that that well. But that was what the point was. It's like they were testing Anastasia's memory because they were trying to see, like Fantasia, if I would remember that they had probably shown me that, which is what I wrote in ASWA, the Atlas Assessments. Like, these photos that they've shown me briefly at some point in my time, like, they have me recall it. And I was like, oh, yes, I do, like, vaguely remember that. And that is why Arendelle looks like the Sword in the Stone story. And that is why, like, Hans has a sword because he's not trying to kill Elsa because he doesn't fucking care about Elsa. That's the point. Like it's not about Elsa. It's a Sword in the Stone story. The only reason Elsa even looks like a woman is because I was on the cross. There's a cross in the story, like Beauty and the Beast. Like that's what it is. Like that he has a cross on his crown. There was a cross in that river because like I was making a river. Like I was literally just like making an artificial river, and then I died. And so like that's what happened. Like it was not intentional. Like no one was trying to kill me. Well, some people were, but like that is kind of representative of like the oil industry. Like it's a painting of how the oil industry was kind of like was invested in me like just dying by accidents. Like that aspect of it was kind of true, but like I think that like that again it didn't actually happen, so it's fine. And that's why I'm trying to like give you this win because like I didn't actually die. They wanted me to die because they didn't want me to like have like like have all this water like flood the earth and then like have everybody be like living in this free world, but it happened anyways. And so like that's what's happening. And so like that is how like you can kind of like that is like your reference material for like what like the Wish film is and like why Arendelle looks like the Sword in the Stone and why Hans has a stone and why I didn't really care about Anna and like Elsa because like I was like I know that this story is not actually about them. I was like and if it is about Elsa, it's about arrows. This is like I was on the cross. So I was like I know this isn't actually like some female heroine story. But like again, that's the test because not everybody would have known that. Only the person that they were looking for, me, would have known that because I put that redstone torch in that thing because it's like the Sword in the Stone, and it's like super powerful. And so like the stone also, so like now like, and that's also what the mist was because like it was shrouded in the mist because like I know that people do this King Arthur shit, and so like I know that people like come and try to pull swords out of stones. So like the mist was there because like nobody was even gonna get to the tower. I was like, that's what Big Hero 6 is. It's like that mist surrounding San Francisco is the same mist that's in the Enchanted Forest in Vermont. And like people were like no one would even have known to try to pull the sword out of the stone because the mist was so like expansive, but it's also really really cold because that dry ice from the cross was being blown through the mist, and like no one was even gonna be able to get in there. Like that's what the heat wave is in Lies. Like that is why these things are designed in such a way, because what happens when people are wielding the sword and like they don't know how, the earth gets destroyed. And so like that's why it's so cold and alcoholic, because there's not that much ice there, there's not that much water, but it's a really powerful mist, because like we can't have like Neanderthals like trying to pull this sword out of the stone because you're an idiot. Like that's why it's like but anyways, so like oh yeah, and then okay, so now let's we're gonna like do an intelligent switch, and we're gonna go over the Freedom Tower, and like so that was like the animation version. That was like the like America like industry aristocracy meritocracy sort of like update and design. And so now we're gonna do an intelligent switch and go over the Freedom Tower and counterterrorism. Okay, so Freedom Tower counterterrorism. Okay, so at 9/11, like the One World Trade Center, like no, in 9/11 the Twin Towers fell because they wanted like the oil industry destroyed the world. And so, like, but also I think there was intended to be a Tarzan kind of like aspect to that, because like in Tarzan, like that came out before 9/11. So like, there's a fire, like a shipwreck, and then there's like he goes into the water, and then like two worlds, one family, like paradise untouched by man, like build high the walls, build strong the trees. So we were intended to recover from that. Whether they knew we were going to doesn't matter, but like that's probably why there's water like pools where the towers were. Like it was intended to be a Tarzan towards family. So like I think that that was intentional. But now let's go over the like actual like how the actual like life ramifications of it, and the sense of terrorism. Like that happened. That was a terrorist attack, and then like it created a like culture, a climate of fear in America, regardless of whether like regardless of like what the truth of that was, like the fear that like spread throughout the globe was real. Like that was real, regardless of what actually happened in 9/11. Like the fear that spread across the globe, and the people like that were like missing, and like me, a person who was like missing because of that situation. And like I came to Kansas and then like kind of got trapped here. And so like the people who know me and like whose like lives I was not present in, like that was felt throughout the planet. And so like that's really why that's what the significance of that is. It's that like the people who were affected by that, like that rippled across all of Earth for like for decades. So like that's what's happening. Is that it's like the One World Trade like counterterrorism like demonstration is like I think what really needs to happen is the like there like we have to we like the prosperity architect community is something that I'm like very highly invested in at the moment. And so the like the flags, so like in we've got the I've got this document here of the flags in Lanai. And so like the flags in Lanai, there's I think six of them. Wait, no, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. There's 10 flags in Libya. And so these 10 flags, we are going to like plant these flags, kind of like the United Universe, United Nations. Like the United Universe, like I'm proposing that the United Universe like plant these flags as a counterterrorism demonstration. And again, it's not going to be like a retaliatory thing, because like we are not interested in retribution. We're interested in restoration. And so the restorative like sort of like the restorative sort of mm, like the restoration day, like so this is how we can like kind of retcon like this into restoration day, because restoration day happened this year. That was like the first annual restoration day that happens. And so we can like amass like information on what happened like on Restoration Day, and like how that was actually received, and like if it is benefiting America, which is like it, I mean it happened across the globe, but like it was really an Australian and American holiday. And so Restoration Day, like we can like kind of retcon this into Restoration Day in the sense of like um we could have been retributive there. Like that could have been something that we like went to the Middle East and just like nuked it because we were like because we can. We could have done that. But and I mean Obama did some of that stuff. Like some of these administrations did do these retaliatory things like Eagle Eye, and like that's why I'm like relevant. That's how I'm relevant in this. Is 'cause it's like I'm not actually doing a lot of these things, but like I am trying to rise to a place where like because again, I could have just like fallen apart like a bitch punk in the streets, like Sam and Eagle Eye. I could have done that, but I Tron Legacy'd it instead because I'm like that's not how I roll. Okay, like I don't just like experience like something negative and then just like have that like define who I am for my whole life. Now, will I like kind of like be affected by it? Yes, but like I'm also going to like grow from it, and that's why like I'm very intent on like forward progress and not like rehashing things that like are that have like been concluded. Like I will rewatch something like the 9/11 footage, but like that's because I'm studying it because like I'm a historian. So like I study things in history. I study the history of Disney because I want to know how history relates to me and how I'm going to grow into tomorrow. That's why I watch things. I don't actually care about the thing that happened though, because it's like a security thing. It's not like an emotional thing. I don't have an emotional investment in that, in the thing that happened. I may have an emotional investment in it not reoccurring, but like that's not the same thing. And so it's caution. It's not like trauma, and like people have to learn that about me, and that's why I'm trying to educate people. And so because like I'm like like 9/11 is like the most traumatic thing that we have collectively experienced as Americans. And so if Restoration Day, if like the Freedom Tower is like a symbol of like Restoration Day, and like if like Restoration Day's symbol is like the Freedom Tower, then like what that could really demonstrate to America and to Australia is how we have reconstructed our civilization. Also, kind of how we had to kind of like let go of our relationship with England because like I think that they kind of propagated some of that. Like I don't know if it was they were directly if that was like directly them or not, but like I don't know. Again, I just do think that like that opened our eyes to see that like just like how I've been designing my life kind of about with like the American melting pot sort of mentality of like Europe was the old world and America was the new, and like Australia is the newer. And so like I think that that's kind of what it is that it's like we kind of had to like grow in the sense of like I will always like value and cherish Mother England. I love England, but I also don't want to be like we also can't not even do we not want to be we can't be like have that childlike submission to England like we saw in the Novera. And so like that's kind of what it is. So it's like America, I think it's important for like America to develop a relationship with Australia in the sense of like that is sort of like it's sort of like America growing in the sense of like this in this century, like developing this relationship with Australia that is like really like symbolic of America like being progressive and like looking toward the future and and like like a establishing like a social structure that is like more reflective of like the younger generations of America and more reflective of what America's like influence has been like in the world and like what has grown like since America has was founded. So like other places have grown. It's not in just Australia, but like Australia is like the largest. I would say probably like the largest, most influential, most notable country that has like preceded or that has like followed America's founding. And so like I think that like that would show a lot of maturity for America to like develop this relationship with Australia that is maybe a mentor kind of relationship of like America's like taking on Australia as like a protege and being like, hey Australia, like let's like grow together because like we both kind of like were established by England and subsequently both fucked over by England. And so like I think it would be really interesting. I think that would be a really great way for us to like lead the world in the sense of like Australia was established as like a like prison colony or something, and like America was established as like a slave colony. So like we can both like be like, hey, like we've experienced these traumatic things, like that we've been treated like absolute dirt, but then also we like grew and are now like super sexy like U.S. bitches. So like it would be really awesome if if like I think that that would be really cool for like America and Australia to have this like relationship that is like kind of like risen from the ashes of this like fallen world, and like that could be symbolized in the Freedom Tower, and like Australia could help us, like could help America sort of like see a view of the world that is not quite as like negative and like dust bowl-y because like that's kind of what's been happening to America, like North America is just a lot of like brutality. And so like maybe Australia can kind of like come and like sully us up a little bit, like soften us up a little bit. And then like America can be like, hey, we can sail to Australia and kind of like demonstrate to you that we like can, you know, do like a Restoration Day Boston Tea Party situation of like we're gonna like dump all of this like fucking green money into this like ocean on the way to Australia because it's worthless trash and it destroyed North America. And so like I think what could be really interesting is like the 10 flags in Lanai, like we could just like be growing these like flags like across like the globe and like building these like North American like Mesoamerican like Mayan temples across the globe that are these like museums, like these like symbols, these like cultural centers that like are restoring Mayan culture and like demonstrate to people that we did not like go to the Middle East and like bomb them and like retribution, but we like established a like establish like relationships that will heal the whole planet and like that will like kind of like have the whole like allow the whole planet to prosper and to grow and like really just like revitalize like and restore these like civilizations like North America and South America and like really just like revitalize these civilizations and like kind of like because America is the melting pot and it really kind of more or less was successful because like English is like a like especially like the I think that's kind of what like the Avatar: The Last Airbender story was. It's like they attacked like the air nomads because like English is like the universal language that it's like that like air traffic control uses or whatever. And so like I think that that's what the symbolism of them like kind of like a kid version of what happened, what that attack was, is that it's like they like were trying to attack this concept of like everyone like there being a universal language. And so because like again they were trying to create like pandemonium, like Pando is killing it, like Strange World. So like that can be like what maybe was restored in Wish is like this technological restoration of like the universal language and people just like genuinely embracing a universal language because like that was what it was. It was like Middle Eastern like religious extremists that were doing that, but like the Mayan culture that is being like revealed in North America, like as the North Ultra is being restored, like obviously that's just the kid version of the story, but as North America is like being restored, like we can like actually um like like restore this like Mayan and like Mesoamerican culture to the globe, and like that could kind of be like what America and like Australia's like relationship is that it's like we're like restoring the actual like culture of North America, and like that is symbolized in like America sailing to Australia and like Boston Tea Partying this green bullshit money, and then like arriving in Australia and like being like, hey, like we're like like this we're just like being like, hey, like we're Mayan, like I'm Mesoamerican and I'm like super into it. And then you'd be like, hey, hello, and I'll be like, hi, and it'll just be really fun. But yeah, and so I also think like culture wars because like again like they were culture warring over like because again it was like the land in like America that the British came here for. Like money is just something that was established to keep like a stranglehold on the land, but like it was the land that like America or like the British came here to colonize. Like that's what they wanted. Like money is just a thing that they created to like keep a grip on the land. And so like if we like really reinvest in the value of the land and like the culture and like the spirituality of the land in North America, then like people like the spiritual awakening and the Sand Fellowship Renaissance will like genuinely begin, and like people will genuinely see like, hey, like this land is really rich and fertile and beautiful, and like it is rising. It fell and it fell to the United States of America, but like it is like being revitalized and being restored. Mesoamerica is being restored, like spirituality is being restored, and like the people are like waking to realize that like our social structure is not like it wasn't benefiting us, and like I think that that's also what was happening with like black people and white people in America is that like the black people in America, like the African descendants, were brought here as slaves, and then like the conflict that was happening with white people, like British colonists and like Africans, realistically, that's like two groups of people who like don't really like belong in America. Like, I mean, like as far as like them trying to culturally dominate it, not saying that like no, like black people and white people, like neither of us should be here, but it's really just a matter of like Native Americans, like this is Native Americans' land. I think that I am like Native American and Mesoamerican and black and something. But like I think that that's what's happening. So it's like like the African like Wakanda, like that's what was happening. It's like Talukan, like Native America. Like that's what that story is. Is that it's like my like Native American, like Mesoamerican culture, like was being restored, and I was remembering who I actually was, and so like that was what like the whole concept of Telecon is like I'm not really like African. I don't like identify with being African in any way, shape, or form. And so like I don't really identify that much with being British. It's just that like I have a great command of the English language, and I have like I was born speaking English. Like that's my native language. And so like that's what it is. But it's like I'm a Mesoamerican person. And like I also like my second language is French, but like I know like some Spanish, but I'm not really like in any capacity fluent in Spanish. But I probably would be fluent in Spanish and French had people not like give me this bullshit tooth gap. So it's like I think that that's what's happening is I'm having to like acknowledge that like a people are gonna try to kill me because I'm like a world leader, which is fine. Like I mean I it's just it's part of it. It's fine. But like I think that that's what's happening is that it's like I my brain is being restored, and since I've offered up my brain, like people are viewing like the renaissance that's happening in my brain, which is also like a domino. Like that's probably the domino that's falling in like the colorful dominoes that's falling in Wish. That's like my neurons are like being like restored to the earth and to Lanai, to the environment. So like that's what that is. Like my brain is that dominant. And I think that that's really interesting. But yeah, and so like that's really what's happening. So it's like this restorative like demonstration to the Middle East, like don't like fucking like attack our country because it's bullshit, and like all you did is make your fucking already trash life trashier. So like that's what it is. It's like and like we also as Americans have to be brave enough to just like to just blatantly like demonstrate this counterterrorism operation and just be like, hey, we're not going to come to the Middle East and like blow you up, but we are going to like restore like our culture and restore what of the Middle Eastern culture we can and of all of Earth's culture that we can. But like people in America, like in America, of like the culture that we are going to like disseminate and like the culture that we are going to like cultivate is a culture of people who can wear a cross, who can wear a Star of David, who can wear like their native garb, and who can just like be the culture that they are without some fucking religious extremist psycho kidnapping them and trying to kill them. Like that's what we're cultivating, and that is what we're how we're restoring the earth. And like so that's what it is. It's like nobody has any problem with the religious people. It's religious extremists that are going into the landfill. Like that's who's going into the fiery pit of the landfill. And I'm not even gonna like pretend like I have any qualms about it. Like that's just what's gonna happen. And so like that's like kind of the small 10% dark part of the demonstration, but the rest of it would be restorative because it's like nobody's like saying that like all religious people should like burn. Like nobody said that. It's crazy people. Like that's what it is, and that can be anybody. Anybody can be an extremist with their like views, and those are the people that are gonna get burned in the landfill. And I'm just gonna watch that shit like the Titanic. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. But anyways, don't want to end on a dark note. But yeah, so like that's kind of what's happening. So it's like we're maturing, we're growing, but like there's also like a little bit of a dark voice that is like that it comes out of the tower. It's like it's powered by that tiny bit of redstone. And I think that again, I maybe like might like title the United Brotherhood memoir something that doesn't say memoir because maybe that's why people are trying to like make it like more real than it is, because it is a recollection. Maybe I can call it like a recollection. Because it's like a memoir kind of implies that it's something that directly actually happened when it's actually just inspired by something that actually happened. So maybe if I like retitle that, then like it won't, people won't like be trying to force it to be like an actual thing. Because like again, like the Freedom Tower, like the flag in Lanai, it's powered by Redstone, but it's a tiny tiny bit because it's inspired by a true story. And so maybe if I like make it known to people that it's just inspired by a true story, then they'll have like reference for what that small bit of red is, like that redstone power is, but they'll know that it's a story, like water, someone writing in sand, that it's a story that is inspired by true events. And then maybe people won't like know that it's, but people will know that it's not actually a true story. It's inspired by a true event, and that's why there's only a little bit of red. So maybe if I just like vocalize that, then people won't like be like being like fucking stupid about it. But yeah. Anyways, all right. So like that's the miss. We are just like restoring the wind, like what neurons heal when I guide the helm. Like that's what's happening. Is that it's like I'm just like guiding the helm. Like I'm just like I'm Eros. Like I'm Eugene. Like I'm Jasmine. We're just like hanging out, and like I'm just like reconnecting with myself, and like we're just like having a great time. Like this is what I stand for in my life. It's like kindness and like levity. Like I'm restoring levity to you because it's wonderful. It's beautiful. Oh man, it's a wonderful life, and it's the worst day of my voice, and it's just so beautiful. It could have been the worst day. It could have been the worst day, but it's not. It's awesome, and like that's what's happening. All right. Anyways, okay. Thanks. Bye. It's so